What's going on, guys? Welcome back to episode 10 of The Fade. Once again, I'm joined by my colleagues Cam Britt, Steve Lore, and we got special guest from the baseline joining us, Eddie Montanez. Wow, double digits with the episodes. Feeling pretty good. A nice special one here. So let's get right into it with a guy we've been talking about probably on more than half of the pod. So, some people might say we can't get his name out of our mouth. If Derek Carr wants to come slap me, do it. But Derek Carr officially is released from the Las Vegas Raiders. He, instead of asking for a trade, he just got released. I think it was a little messed up that he didn't give the Raiders any draft compensation, but from both sides, I can see that a little frustration with Derek Carr seeing his loyalty to the franchise. It did ultimately save them $40.9 million. And I guess the team he's been meeting with while he was a Raider, it was the Saints. I think that's a very good fit for him. They have a lot of weapons there and can only get better, honestly. What's your guys' take on Derek Carr asking for the release instead of giving the Raiders compensation and just him being a Saint in general, possibly?
So he did that, but he's not gonna go to the Saints. Now here's my reasoning behind that. Just because he asked for release and he met with the Saints before, I mean, that's great and all, but do the Saints really want that type of quarterback in their system? Now, I was big on Lamar Jackson going to the Saints, and now I don't know if that's even going to happen. But with him asking for a release, I don't think that's the right thing to do, especially for that team and what that organization has done for him. But I think it's possible he ends up somewhere in the NFC, maybe Tampa, but I just don't see him with the Saints.
Rob Gronkowski did say Tampa.
I think, dude, that for the Raiders, it was a very smart decision because, like Luke said, they've saved, $40 million? That's a lot of money, dude. You know what I mean? You got to think about what they're going to do, or what are they tagging Josh Jacobs now, I think. But like Cam said, I don't think he ends up a Saint. I know he's been visiting there and stuff like that, but I just don't think that he's going to end up choosing there. I think he's going to end up going to Carolina, like Luke said in a pod before. I think we'll see Derek Carr in a Carolina Panthers uniform next year for sure.
I definitely don't think what he did was messed up. You got to think he's the reason Davante Adams is there. He's the reason Davante Adams is a Las Vegas Raider. I don't think it's messed up that they didn't get any draft compensation either. They saved 40 mil, so that's a lot of money. Yeah, but like with Carr, like they got him a big time receiver, so like I can understand why he's mad and like why he just wanted to be released and didn't want him to get anything out of it. But they signed him to a 4 to 5 year contract for a reason. Like, I don't think this whole year was completely on him. I do think the defense stepped up at the end as well, but they didn't do their part at the beginning of the year, which a lot of people blame the part on Derek Carr for. Because remember, in that Kansas City game, it was 31-31, and he heaved one to Davante Adams for an absolute dot for a touchdown. That game could have went either way. So I definitely don't think all the blame should be on Derek Carr. As we're talking about him going to the Saints and everything, I could see him as a Saint, honestly, because with Olave, Michael Thomas, and Landry, that could be a pretty good receiving core for him to throw the ball to. Because this year, he relied on Adams a lot this year, like a lot. Like Devontae was averaging like 130 yards for like 4 games at one point, which is insane. So I definitely think that all the blame isn't on Carr. Some of it definitely is, but you got to think last year he was literally top 5 in the MVP race at one point. So you got to look at the past years. This year obviously wasn't the best year because he just got released, but I definitely don't think all of it was on him. I definitely think you got to blame the defense for part of that as well.
I don't think it's his fault. I just think, like, I don't know. Every quarterback's time comes to an end on their team. You know what I mean? Like Tom Brady's time came to an end with the Patriots, and just Derek Carr is just his time is done with the Raiders. You know what I mean? I don't blame Derek Carr at all. I think he's an average quarterback in the league. I think he can do good things with another team, but we'll see what happens, man.
Yeah, I agree with what Eddie said too, the defense. But Derek Carr, I think, is a guy you really want in your locker room. Just the way he speaks, man. He's a Christian guy. I think, yeah, honestly, to be truthful, I wouldn't have gave the Raiders anything either. You're making $40 million by cutting me. And, I brought you, if not the best receiver in the National Football League. What more could you want? And Derek Carr, he's been consistently putting up over 4,000 yards every season, and he had Josh Jacobs had by far his best year. Derek Carr didn't really have much to go with throwing the ball this year besides Adams, if we're being honest. Renfro was out for most of the year, and so was Waller. So I think what he did this year with not having much to work on or work with was very good. But I agree, Steve, when you say, it's time for teams to move on. Everyone has their go with it. I think, unfortunately, with Derek Carr and the organization and fan base, if you're not getting us to where we're expected every season, and you're not hitting the playoffs or we're falling very short of our expectations, it normally falls back onto the quarterback. So I think Derek Carr took the blame, and it all came back onto him at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's what I mean, dude. Like, it's not that Derek Carr did anything wrong. You know what I mean? I just think at this point they would rather either take their shot with a young quarterback and draft somebody for the next 4 years and just see what happens with that, or maybe even take a shot at somebody else around the league. You know what I mean? Like, you just saved $40 million off of Derek Carr. You know what I mean? That's a lot of money to work with. So
I just came up with this in my mind right now. So, you know who has a good face for Vegas? Jimmy Garoppolo. And I don't know exactly why. I don't know how much they would even pay him. I think I mentioned this before, but I don't know. I could just see him fitting that system as the pocket passer that he is, the pocket passer that Derek Carr was. I think they're very similar in that aspect. They're not going to use their legs a lot. Both are kind of injury prone a little bit. So, I mean, there's a lot of similarities with both of them. So it's not like a loss if they get a veteran quarterback like Jimmy G. I mean, I'm not saying they get a top dollar guy like Aaron Rodgers, go after him, but I don't know. I just thought that would be an interesting destination for him.
Just what? Because he has like that face of being a poster boy.
Yeah, he has
all around
exactly.
Vegas.
You could put him all over Vegas,
See, that's what you just said about Jimmy G. I was reading this a couple of days ago. So they're willing to go and give Derek Carr up, right? So this is just a Raider move. You'll go give Derek Carr up and won't pay him the money. But then they'll go, and it's expected too, that they're going to go and give their next QB a big deal. So you're going to do that and then go and give injury-prone Jimmy G, who can't play clutch, who's been carried by his everywhere around him. He's had people around him, which is not his fault. But I don't know. And what you said about the system then, why would Lamar fit better in New Orleans when they've only ever had pocket passers since Drew Brees?
Because they got Tyreek Hill, or not Tyreek Hill. Taysom. What the hell's his name? Taysom Hill. There we go.
Yeah, but they don't even use him as a QB anymore.
Yeah, but that's a dangerous threat. They put him in the backfield.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it is. But I just think because the teams aren't ready for him when they come in. But now, like Taysom Hill, anytime he gets a read option, he takes it. But yeah, Lamar could be a good
utilization would be different.
Lamar could be a good fit there, but dude, they need someone that's a pocket passer that can go and actually sling Kamara the ball out of the backfield, I think.
You know who I think might end up being a Raider, dude? To be honest with you, because one, they're both cheap. The Raiders don't have a ton of, like, you don't want to, like you said, you don't want to sign somebody to $50 million a year like Aaron Rodgers. I could see somebody like Jameis Winston or something like that coming into Las Vegas and not taking a massive deal, you know what I mean? And them having him for the next couple of years, or like Luke was saying before the pod, he was saying something about Mac Jones, or were you saying Mac Jones wanted to be traded or something?
No, listen to offers.
Like, what if the Raiders made an offer to the Patriots for Mac Jones, a pocket passer? Like that's another good possibility that could happen over there. I think they're definitely going to take a shot at one. I mean, Jameis Winston's not young and he's not old. I think he's like 28, 29. He got drafted when Mariota did.
Yeah, he might be there. He might have just turned 30 last season.
Yeah, so they can sign him for the next couple of years, man, and see what they got working with him. Or, like I said, trade for Mac Jones. Or Jordan Love, how Jordan Love was saying, start me or trade me. If the Packers want to rock with Aaron Rodgers, trade away Jordan Love for some weapons for Aaron Rodgers over there. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of possibilities that could happen for the Raiders here. And I think they're going to work with one of these young guys.
I could definitely see Winston or Mac Jones going there, but there's a chance that they might just stick with Stidham looked pretty good for the 3 games that he played. Like, he threw for 300. He threw for over 300 yards in 2 of them. It's like I could see them giving him a chance maybe, and just like maybe
like a rookie behind him.
Yeah, like maybe drafting a rookie and putting him behind him. But like I said, Stidham didn't do that bad. Like, he had pretty good games for when he started over Carr. Devontae Adams also did well with Stidham. Like, I think wherever you put Devontae Adams, obviously he's going to be good because he's just him. But like with Stidham, like, I think there's a possibility they give him a chance. But like what Laurie was saying, I do like how he said Jones, because I think Mac Jones is a very solid pocket passer. Yeah, he got started over Bailey Zappi earlier in the year, but when he came back in, he didn't look that bad. I could see him going to the being a Raider too if they were to make offers to the Patriots. I think him and Devontae Adams would be really good, and maybe if Waller and Renfro could come back healthy with Matt Collins, that could be a really good offense, especially if they could franchise tag Jacobs.
I think the ideal that the Raiders are going to shoot for right now is just trading or just drafting. I mean, I think it's going to be C.J. Stroud or Will Levis, and like Eddie was saying, maybe they ride with Stidham. That was a surprise take for me, but yeah, I can definitely see C.J. Stroud going there because he just had an interview where he was saying he wanted to play, and he didn't really go and name him, but he was like, Ocho Cinco's favorite route runner in this league, and Ocho's is Devontae Adams. So I can definitely see him, C.J. Stroud, getting his opportunity and he'd look tough as a Raider. So, and I think there's a lot more works that they have to make with $40 million. That's a lot of money. That could be a big deal for a quarterback, or they can start working on their defense a little more, their O-line. You got to give Josh Jacobs his money eventually as well. So that $40 million really does come in to help them a lot. Any of you guys got any more takes on the Carr situation in the Raiders? All right, going off of that, we have the Giants with Saquon Barkley only open to paying him $14 million a year. I think he's at least worth like 16, and for a leap of faith, I'd probably give him like 17. Saquon was one of the top running backs in this league this year, and when he's healthy, dude, he's a different animal. There's a reason he's drafted as high as he was. I'm very high on him. He gives the Eagles a lot of problems anytime they play. I'd say you have to re-sign Saquon, and ultimately, I don't know what you do with Daniel Jones with trying to pay both of them. I know Daniel Jones is expected to get $35 million a year. I'd work my money with Saquon, maybe draft a QB or get another veteran QB on a cheaper deal than $35 million. I think there's a lot more quarterbacks better than Daniel Jones in this league, especially with free agency coming up. So
I think it's absolutely laughable that they're offering him $35 million. I mean, that's insane. I mean, he had one good year. That's it. And they're offering
and it wasn't even really that good.
No, it was basically an average year.
Yeah.
For like a normal quarterback,
Yeah, it was just he led him to the playoffs. But he doesn't have receivers around him.
Yeah, but like, I don't know. You don't put – what did Carson Wentz do when he didn't have any receivers around him? The same thing that Daniel Jones is doing, playing average, you know. Now look at Carson Wentz. I think that's a very good comparison because I don't think Daniel Jones is the guy that makes $35 million as a starting quarterback. I think he's the starting quarterback to get 22, maybe. And that's like with a low quality franchise. So I don't know.
Especially when
they got to stick to Saquon.
And the Giants have a good defense. They just need to they need to figure out a way to get Galladay's contract off their hands too. That's a big deal right there.
That's not going to happen unless he decides to take a pay cut or something to like restructure people, but he won't, dude. Yeah. It's weird. Like Cam said, it's laughable how they are open to paying Saquon $14 million, and then they're going to offer they're going to be open to paying Daniel Jones $35 million a year. Honestly, Eddie, if they paid Daniel Jones $35 million a year, I would not be a Giants fan any longer. I swear to God, I wouldn't, because that will be the most ridiculous deal I've ever seen in my entire life. You were going to pay this kid that trips over his own shoelace running down the field $35 million a year. Are you kidding me? For having, like Cam said again, a decent year at best. If he gets $35 million a year, I'll laugh. I'll honestly, because I think it'll be hilarious, because I think he's terrible. I'll love for Jalen Hurts to go to New York twice a year and stomp their heads off. But as a Giants fan, my head would explode. Honestly, it wouldn't be able to process it. Like that, it would be too much, because I know, and a lot of people know, Daniel Jones is not a good quarterback. He's really not. He's really not. How can you even say that? You're going to pay this kid $35 million a year? Are you kidding me?
I definitely think paying Daniel Jones that much is retarded. But paying Saquon that much is stupid too. Like, give that much low is stupid. But what I see them doing is maybe if Saquon gets out of New York, they have the 26th pick and then an early second round pick. I can see him maybe drafting Bijan Robinson or Jahmyr Gibbs, because like Saquon, we all know this, has been injured has been injured 3 years out of like 5 or 6. I don't know how many years. I think 5, but like he is injury prone. So like I guess that's the reason why they're offering so low. Daniel Jones had a decent year. I don't see him getting paid $35 million a year. I definitely saw him staying with the Giants, but not getting that much, obviously. Signing Isaiah Hodgins, like Luke said, also was big too. The kid came out and balled out. Wan'Dale Robinson got hurt, who was really good for us before he tore his ACL, like week 7, I believe. So I think with Isaiah Hodgins coming back, I think he's really good. Like, he'd be a good wide receiver 3. And then with Wan'Dale coming back, wide receiver 2. And then I heard that we're trying to trade or get D-Hop off the Cardinals, which I don't see happening. But if it does happen, I think that could be a really good receiving core. And if they were to get rid of Saquon, I do see them just drafting Jahmyr Gibbs or Bijan Robinson out of the first round or the second, or in the early second, because their defense is good right now. Like, Thibodeau is really good. Like, he proved that he could be a problem in this league. McKinney's good. Like, Landon Collins came back and balled out. Like, our defense is honestly not horrible. I definitely think that keeping Saquon is a priority over paying Daniel Jones that much. But if we do end up paying Daniel Jones that much, I just say you draft Bijan Robinson or Jahmyr Gibbs in the draft.
Do you think Sterling Shepard, I mean, this might be obvious, but do you think Sterling Shepard played his last snap as a Giant, or do you think they trade him, or does he just get released or retire?
I think that we give him a shot at early in the beginning. Like, I think we do what we did with Kadarius Toney. Like, we give him a chance to play. If he don't play, trade him. And if he does play and balls out, just keep him. Like, I think Sterling Shepard's a really good wide receiver. Like, I feel like he would have helped us out later on in the year, like after he got hurt, obviously, especially with Wan'Dale getting hurt. Like, our receivers were like Richie James, Isaiah Hodgins, and I can't even name the last one, honestly. Kenny Golladay, I think it was.
Yeah, you're a big fan of Golladay.
Yeah, he had 3 catches all year and 7 drops. Like, what? But like I said, keep an eye Hodgins, and I think that paying Saquon over Jones is a big priority. But like Cam said, Jones had a decent year. Like he could run the ball. Like he had flashes. He had pretty good games. Like he showed flashes of what he could do. So like I definitely saw Daniel Jones coming back as a Giant. I definitely saw them giving him a contract, but I didn't see them giving him nearly as much as I saw that they were going to give him.
I think, and two, I think if you are giving him 35 mil a year, I think it's a 1 year. Like I don't even know, but I'm not giving him 35 mil over the course of 4 years or 5. Like if I'm going and shooting for 35 mil right now, that might be a 1 year 35 mil. Like that's like, all right, you'll prove to us that you can keep making this 35 mil, but. I never really heard of a team doing that where they just give out a 1 year big 35 mil, but that's the only way I would do it. Like it's smart in a sense. You keep a locker room guy around. You have like your designated quarterback where all right, he knows the system, and you have. I don't know if Tyrod's a free agent after this, but you maybe pick up a veteran or a drafted guy, and if Daniel Jones doesn't work out and you still have a fighting chance, you bench him, and then you're off the leash instead of having that 35 mil over your head for the next 4 years.
I don't know, man. Like they're probably going to do it too, because they've been saying for a couple of years that Daniel Jones is their guy. You know what I mean? And for them to come out and say that they're going to pay him that money, they're probably going to do it. And I've never been sold on this kid, honestly. Like I just don't think I don't know.
I think if he goes anywhere else, I mean, it's kind of like a Giants thing. It seems, especially in this past year, that Tony balled out with the Chiefs. Bradbury balled out with the Eagles. Like once they leave New York, it seems like they do better. So it's actually kind of just funny, you know. I feel bad for Eddie in a way. Like it just kind of sucks. Like I couldn't imagine if Carson. It's like if Carson Wentz left and he did awesome with the Colts or wherever the hell he went after us. But I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
he
just
went
like an
to-
ironic.
And now it's like, what if they lose Saquon and he goes to some team and just completely
I know,
dominate?
it's a lose-lose situation.
You know what I
because
mean?
they
That's a
spend all this
very,
money.
very.
Well, Saquon is a dominant. Even if he is a Giant, he's gonna dominate.
That's what I think. Like that's why I think you have to pay Saquon over Daniel
Yeah.
Jones. Like, are you kidding me?
But
no-brainer.
I think what the Giants are worried about is like, say you give Saquon a 5 or 6 year deal, and then he just ends up like consistently getting hurt, and you're just paying him 16 mil a year. You know what I mean?
I would give Saquon a
Jerry
4-year
Jones
deal.
doesn't mind doing that. Zeke got hurt how many times, and he's making a shit ton of money.
Zeke's good, dude. Zeke's a beast. He has. I'm not joking. I looked it up. I looked at it a couple days ago, man. He has in his 7 years, he has more rushing yards and more by I think over 1,000, and over 10 more or like 10 to like 20 more touchdowns than Hall of Famer Terrell Davis did in his 7-year career.
Who's Zeke?
Yeah, Zeke's proven, man. But like now this last year, man, was like kind of a downfall with him. But we'll see what happens in the future with Zeke. I don't know if they bring Pollard back or not. Franchise tag, yeah, but who knows? Going off of that, I was really surprised listening around and hearing that the Patriots are sniffing around for Deebo Samuel. You know, I seen that they were talking about, all right, let's explore the opportunity again. Maybe D-Hop, Keenan Allen if released, or Mike Thomas. I don't think Mike Thomas, I don't know what's going to happen with him, because what I was reading is the Saints paid him so much money and it all rolled over to where he is actually the highest paid player this season, I think. He's making like 60-some mil, and it's no joke. Yeah, it's insane to hear from a receiver standpoint or a quarterback, let alone. He's making like 59.4 mil this year. because the last 2 or 3 years, the Saints kept restructuring his contract, and now all of it's coming back to bite them. Yeah, I'm not joking at all. I was so surprised to where they're gonna lose 60 mil. Yeah. So I would say though, I would say you have to keep him. That's a no-brainer. Like, you don't just go and throw 60 mil down the drain, but if he ain't playing, then whatever. But yeah, what's your guys' opinions on like this Debo? Like I said, I was surprised we're hearing the D-Hop, Keenan Allen, and who else did I say? I forget. All right,
Mike Thomas.
Yeah,
Michael Thomas.
Yeah. What's your guys' opinion on this, on sniffing around about Debo?
I think it's all just rumors at the moment. There's no way that the 49ers get rid of Deebo Samuel, man. That offense is too elite without, like, they can't lose him. They can't afford to lose anybody on that offense because they're already down their quarterbacks. I mean, I don't know how long it's going to take for Brock Purdy to come back if they decide to keep him at the number one. So, I mean, they're going to need as much help as they could get, and it's already a great offense.
Unless, what if they're thinking, dude, they want to sign a QB, and this is their way of getting off that contract with money, seeing how McCaffrey could be a dual threat in the backfield with the pass game and run, and seeing now that they can trust Brandon Ayuk, and you have George Kittle too. Now I can see maybe Debo gets traded.
Maybe.
I
mean, what's their draft pick this year? What's the Patriots draft pick this year for the first round? I mean, it's probably like late.
I'd say like,
right?
like 17 or 18, I think.
So, I mean, I don't know who they would draft that late in the first round for a quarterback. Unless they trade up, which, I mean,
unless the Patriots go and give Jimmy or give them Mac Jones and a pick and get Debo, since they're trying to trade, and Mac Jones is just like Jimmy G.
That actually makes a lot of sense. That's a good take right there.
Yeah.
I'm going to agree with that. We're going to stick to our guns on that one. That's the one I'm going to go with if it actually happens.
I like that too, man. But you know what I think, though, too? Like how you said that they can trust Brandon Ayuk. I think
they have the 14th pick.
This is where I think you trade Brandon Ayuk because you don't know what the deal is with him going into the future. You know what I mean? Debo is proven. Christian McCaffrey, obviously proven. You brought him in for a reason. You need to figure out the quarterback's situation, whatever. You'll figure that out. But Brandon Ayuk, I think, gets traded this offseason because he was starting to play pretty good there towards the end. And you don't know. He's had peaks like this in his career since he's came into the league. Like when he jumped over the dude on the Eagles. You know what I mean? Like he's had games like this before, like where he's played at a high level, and then there's been times in the season where he hasn't played at a high level. So I think right now, while we're in the offseason, and then given that he was playing at a high level at the end of the season, you trade him away. Keep your guys that are proven that, like Cam said, that offenses cannot afford to lose Deebo Samuel. He's a dual threat. He plays good everywhere. You cannot afford to lose that guy. You really can't.
I don't really see anyone on the 49ers offense getting touched. I feel like they're just going to probably just stick with Purdy, honestly. Like, it's proven that any quarterback in this league could fit in that system. I think if you put any quarterback in the starting 32, could go on the 49ers and ball out because that offense is just gross. So I don't feel like they're going to touch anyone on that offense. I definitely think that offense will stay the same for the next year. Josh Johnson, yeah, that guy's a bum. So obviously not every quarterback will fit in, but I think every starting quarterback in the league could definitely fit in with that offense because you can just hand the ball. You can hand the ball off to McCaffrey. He'll run it up the gut for 20 yards. You can throw him a flat. He'll take it for 30 yards. You can hand the ball off to Debo. He'll take it for 50. You could throw him a slant. He'll take it for 90. It don't matter. That offense is disgusting, and they know that they have a pretty good defense as well. So I don't really see them doing much like changing on the team. I just think they'll rock with Purdy, and maybe when Lance comes back, we also never saw what Trey Lance could really do in full effect. So if Trey Lance could come back healthy and be a dog no, I don't know if you guys thought, but I definitely thought that he was going to be a pretty good quarterback since he has the rushing upside. So, and obviously he got hurt to start the year. So none of us could really say that Trey Lance is good or bad yet because we don't know because we haven't seen him play in a full year.
He was
So
playing pretty good though, right?
Yeah, he wasn't playing bad at all because like he was rushing the ball a lot and he has a pretty good upside with that. So I definitely think they don't really touch the offense or the defense. I think they're going to come back with the same exact team because they know that they could win a Super Bowl with this team if they just have a healthy quarterback. Because I think that Purdy definitely, like, he was top 3 in rookie offensive rookie of the year, which is like literally blasphemy to me. But like the guy did come out and win 6 straight games. He beat Brady in his second game ever, and like that second game like was pretty good. Like you can't say that all that offense carried him. Like some games he came out and balled out. Like the Seahawks, we saw what he could do. Like he showed flashes. Like that ball that Ayuk dropped, that was a thought. That play was beautiful.
He didn't lose though up until the Eagles.
Yeah, like
technically that's not even a loss for him now either.
Yeah, he didn't even lose until the Eagles. And, like, we saw what he could do. Like, the guy could run. The guy could, like, run around the backfield. He could make a play. Like, that play to Ayuk, the one that he dropped, would have been a crazy-ass play in that game. So I definitely think that they don't really look for a QB in the offseason because I think that they know that any quarterback that they have, if it's going to be Brock Purdy or Trey Lance, that they're going to come in and rock with that offense because their defense and offense are both, in my opinion, top 5 in the whole league. So I definitely think that they're going to just rock with Purdy or Lance next year.
Yeah, everyone was saying too about they're like, oh, fire Shanahan, this and that. I think Kyle Shanahan's an amazing coach. I don't see the means to get rid of him. And yeah, Eddie, that is a good take. I don't think you'd touch anyone on that roster, on that offensive side, because if they're making it to the NFC Championship with Mr. Irrelevant, like you said, you can throw anybody in on that. I do not see them taking any risks of whatever. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's stupid, but like how everyone was saying Brady or Aaron Rodgers. So you give up what you have with these young guys for 1 or 2 years of success. You know, I don't know if that's necessarily whatever. That might be – it might have been bigger to bring in Brady or Rodgers necessarily for, like, the money, like good market value, good jersey sales, stuff like that, have more primetime games, right, if you have Rodgers and Brady. But I have no idea what I do with that. Any other things you want to say about the 49ers?
Like you said with Shanahan, I think he's a pretty good coach as well. Like to start off the year, George Kittle wasn't a big part of that offense. Once they got McCaffrey, guy was a big part of the offense. The guy was averaging 2 touchdowns a game for the last like 5 weeks. So I think this offense is really good. Like George Kittle was balling out at the end of the year. Christian McCaffrey, a top 3 running back in the whole league. Debo is Debo, and Ayuk is a good wide receiver too, in my opinion. So I definitely, like I've said before, I don't see anyone on that team really leaving. And like Purdy and Lance, I think one of them, they're gonna have to fight for the spot, and they know it because Lance is gonna come.
Who did they have? Who are they playing at running back? Mitchell, right, for most of the season, and Wilson, right? I didn't know if someone got hurt or whatnot, or if they were. Because I know.
And like what you said about Elijah Mitchell, like even if CMC were to go down at some point, Elijah Mitchell is a really good, reliable running back to have after him. So like this offense does have a lot of good people, even to back up who they have. Like Jawan Jennings isn't like he's not all that, but like I think he could come out and be good for them.
I like Jawan Jennings. Mm-hmm. I actually do. He's pretty good. They have other guys too, and I think San Fran's a destination most people are going to want to come and play for too. But definitely, like you said, I thought Kittle was washed up in the beginning of the season. So yeah, that was a good one. Shanahan just knows what to do, like getting the right pieces in, because like Jeff Wilson and Mitchell, they weren't really receiving backs. So if you do that, it opens up those linebackers having to key in on the backfield, which helped Kittle a lot. Kittle was due to top like I'd say 3 tight end at the end of the season.
And a lot of plays that they ran, were pump. Like Kyle Shanahan knew that he couldn't make all these flashy plays for Purdy. Like if you look at all the games that they're watching, all the games that Purdy played, there's at least 5 games. There's at least 5 plays in each game where he's pump faking the ball to Debo, Christian McCaffrey. Like defenses know that Christian McCaffrey and Debo are the biggest threat on this offense. And then Kyle Shanahan was like, all right, you guys know this. And Ayuk stepped up big time at the end, and so did Kittle. So, that's why I just keep saying I don't really think that this offense is going to really change as much. But, I do think that Lance is going to come out in this camp with a fire under his ass because he knows that Purdy could take his spot. But I do think that at the beginning of the year, Lance is probably going to be the starting quarterback for the Niners. If healthy, obviously.
Going off of that, we got Justin Jefferson set to make a $160 million contract total. I think you pay Jettas. I know something's gonna end up happening, dude, with Adam Thielen. I can see Adam Thielen for some reason. I know he has his beef with Bill Belichick. I don't know if he's ever seen a video of Adam Thielen and Bill Belichick getting into it, which is hilarious to me. But I think we can see Adam Thielen possibly getting cut by the Vikings and being a Pat. I think he's another one who fits the Pat system.
No, obviously you got to play Justin Jefferson. I mean, he's an absolute animal. Probably 1 or 2 wide receiver in the league right now, I would say. I mean, the guy is just him. He's him, basically. But there's this trend going on where they match up college quarterbacks and wide receivers. Who was his college quarterback? I want to say it was Joe Burrow, but I don't think I'm right there. Justin Jefferson.
Burrow.
I don't think I'm right. It was Burrow.
Yeah, there's no way they're taking him there.
Imagine, though. They get rid of T. Higgins, and it's Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase there. That would be ridiculous.
That's who I wanted to say. T. Higgins to the Pats, too, earlier. That's like how they're looking at all of these guys. I was going to say T. Higgins because I know he's about to get traded if you don't say
that. Would be crazy, dude, but you can't pay.
No, I mean, obviously. But
yeah. You know where I think another good landing spot would be for Adam Thielen, too, is Dallas, man. Dallas is looking for a receiver to either play in that slot position and play pretty decent in the slot position and let CeeDee Lamb just be the number 1, or they want to bring in somebody that plays good on the outside and let CeeDee play in the slot. So, I mean, and Adam Thielen's a slot receiver, and he's pretty good at it. I mean, he's getting up there in age, but just a couple of years ago, man, I don't know if you guys remember, even in fantasy and stuff, Adam Thielen killed it. You know what I mean? He was destroying it every game. And what was it, 2019, maybe 2020? That was only a couple of years ago. So he definitely still has that spark in him, I think. I think he was even good last year. You know what I mean? It's just Justin Jefferson's there now. You know what I mean? It's a Jefferson show. How can you not have him as your number 1 wide receiver? And I think that Adam Thielen's not going to be a Viking next year. And I think he's going to go somewhere, or maybe like you guys said, the Patriots even too. But I definitely think he'll go somewhere and he'll play in the slot position and then let one of these young guys take over on one of the teams that he does go to on the outside, like CeeDee Lamb in Dallas.
I definitely think Jefferson's contract that he gets is definitely going to be deserved. He's what Cam said, he's him. He almost broke Calvin Johnson's record. He was real damn close. Real damn close to breaking that record. I definitely don't see Thielen being a Viking next year just for the lone fact that they have KJ Osborne there because KJ Osborne played really freaking good this year, and for the fact that they got Hawkinson as well. They have a top 5 tight end on their team as well, and they have Dalvin Cook too. So I don't really see them keeping Thielen because they know that their offense is really good even without him. So, Steve was saying too, him going to Dallas, I definitely see him going to a team that needs a good wide receiver too. I was thinking when he was talking about Dallas, maybe the Panthers with DJ Moore. I don't know. I feel like he's definitely not at the tier anymore where he could be a wide receiver 1. I definitely think any team he goes to, he's going to be a wide receiver 2. I saw like the
Not
Chiefs
the
are trying to
Cardinals.
if they kept D Hop or
No,
got rid of D Hop.
if they got
They
rid of
have.
D-Hop.
I think he'd still be the number 2 behind Hollywood.
Well, yeah, no, yeah, definitely, yeah.
But what's it called? What was I saying? I was like with like what he was saying about the Cowboys. Like I saw that the Chiefs were trying to get Jacoby Myers maybe, so maybe Thielen goes to the Chiefs. So like there's a lot of possibilities with Thielen. Like obviously if he gets traded, like it's not like teams aren't gonna want to get the guy. Like the guy's a really good wide receiver too. It's just the fact that the Vikings have so many good offensive pieces. Like obviously Justin Jefferson is arguably the best receiver in the NFL. You have T.J. Hawkinson, who's a top 5 tight end in the NFL. You have K.J. Osborne, who's a really good wide receiver 3. And if you were to get rid of Thielen, I think he'd be a damn good wide receiver too. So like, I feel like Thielen ain't gonna be a Viking, like we were all saying. I definitely see him going to a team that needs a wide receiver badly, like poorly, like the Chiefs honestly need a wide receiver. Like Mecole Hardman, Kadarius Toney, and Juju, like they're all right because they have Patrick Mahomes. But if they weren't with Patrick Mahomes, that is not a good wide receiving core, in my opinion. So like I could definitely see him going to a team like the Chiefs, the Panthers, like the Cowboys, like Steven said, or even the Buccaneers maybe. Put him at wide receiver 3 and they're gross. Like as long as they get a quarterback. But yeah, Thielen, there's a lot of possibilities with him. Like it's honestly up in the air with him. Like if they keep him, if they were to keep him, hey, they have the same exact offense as last year and they're really good. You get rid of them, you save money, really good offense either way. So it's a win-win for the Vikings if they were to keep him or lose him because they save money. But for Thielen, it's up in the air for him because honestly, we don't know what could happen with him because there's a lot of teams in the NFL that need a good wide receiver to boost their offense.
I just have a question for you guys. So, since we're on the topic of the Vikings, what do you guys think about Kirk Cousins? Do you think it's time for the Vikings to move on from him? Or do you think that he's up there in age, he's a vet? So, I mean, play it out. But I honestly think they should move on from Kirk. He can't win big games.
I think you play it out. The guy came back from 33-0. Like, I think that Kirk isn't bad. Like, yeah, he's like he can't win big games in prime time, but like he's one of the reasons. He's like you got like Jefferson almost beat Calvin Johnson. Who the hell was the one throwing the ball? Like Kirk Cousins is a really good. Like he's not really good, but in my opinion, he's a top 15 quarterback in the NFL. So I definitely think Kirk Cousins should I don't think they should get rid of Kirk Cousins because there's not really many options better than him at this point right now. I think they're just going to keep him and then later on draft one or even just trade for one once his contract's up. But as of right now, I definitely don't think they should get rid of him because of how good he's been playing. Like he is one of the reasons why Jefferson did so good this year. Like Kirk Cousins play action completion percentage is one of the best in the league. Like he's really good at that play action. So I just don't think they get rid of him, honestly.
I was never really a fan of Kirk up until these last 2 seasons, because when you're seeing him getting nods for Pro Bowls every year, even though like you guys said Pro Bowls don't really mean anything, you're still saying you're a top 3 QB in the NFC side. He's throwing 4,500 a year at minimum. Like he's up there, and like Eddie said, without him, Jefferson's not getting that. I don't think there's a lot of options that are really necessarily better than Kirk.
And his turnover to interception ratio is really good. Like the guy doesn't really make many mistakes. Like he throws completions or like he's smart enough to throw the ball away where the teams he's not going to cost his team the ball. Like he's not going to cost his team a turnover.
And you have a veteran there too with Kirk. I don't see anything besides maybe drafting or picking up like a younger guy and saying, all right, in like 2 years, you'll have your time to start if it don't work out with Kirk. But I think Kirk's only like 33 or 34, maybe 35 at tops. But He's still performing at a high
I
level.
think he got drafted the same year Odell did in
I
2014.
think he went the same as RG3 actually, or
Oh,
a year
was it?
after. He either went the same year as RG3 in like the 4th or 5th round, or the year after RG3. Because I remember he used to wear number 12, and then he took over for RG3. But yeah, I think they ride it out with Kirk. What do you think, Steve?
I think he's proven, man. I mean, I don't, like you guys said, I don't think he wins big games, but another thing that you guys said too, I don't think Jefferson is proven. Obviously he's proven. I didn't mean to say proven. I don't think Jefferson gets as many targets as he does in Minnesota without Kirk Cousins, because think if they got rid of him and brought somebody in, like, I don't know, like say they brought in like Baker Mayfield or something like that and they got rid of Kirk Cousins, you don't know that Justin Jefferson's going to get as many passes thrown to him, or if they're going to be good passes thrown to him. You know what I mean? You don't know if they're going to have chemistry. Kirk Cousins and Justin Jefferson already have that chemistry. You know what I mean? You're trying to make this young receiver into the best receiver into the league. You know what I mean? Let it ride out with this veteran quarterback that you have throwing him the ball. You know what I mean? He, like Eddie said, he came back 33-0. That's a huge comeback, arguably the best comeback in league history. So, I definitely think you ride it out with Kirk Cousins, and I don't think that they plan on winning a Super Bowl anytime soon. I think they know that. I know that because let's be honest, they really aren't a Super Bowl contender. They can make it maybe mid-round playoffs, but they're just they're not a very well-rounded team.
Before they started having that bad whatever, they were neck and neck with Philly for number one.
Yeah,
They started off what, like, I think they started off like 7-0 or whatever. Or no, they lost.
Yeah,
to Philly.
9. They were.
but that's
9
what I
and
mean,
1.
though. They have these games where they play really good, and then it's like Kirk Cousins, when it really matters, it's like that gets to his head. You know what I mean? Like they were taking
He's a
that
choke artist, though.
That's what I mean. They take pictures of him, dude. They're putting all these chains around his neck when they're in that plane, taking pictures of him. And then a couple games later, he's not playing good. You know what I mean? Like, I think, but then again, it's like I said, Justin Jefferson, you don't know if Jefferson would be who he is without Kirk Cousins. So I think you just let it ride for Jefferson's sake. You know what I mean? Not because I think Kirk Cousins is that guy. I think Justin Jefferson's that guy. You know what I mean? Let this chemistry ride out until Kirk Cousins is either the contract ends or he's ready to retire.
Going off of that, Justin Herbert's supposed to be signing, expected a $295 million total contract. I think obviously you get, if you're the Chargers too, you give Herbert that contract. A guy like him, again, is a once-in-a-generation talent where you find it, and you definitely stick to him as your franchise guy. I think it's going to be ultimately hard to, like, they're not really helping him with pieces. Like, for example, they have the pieces with Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, but it just sucks because every season you come into the start of the season, you think the Chargers might do something when they got Khalil Mack and Bosa, Derwin James, J.C. Jackson, Asante Jr. You have all this, but dude, when are the Chargers actually ever healthy? They're always getting screwed over, and it's something, man, with the Chargers, but it might be a curse, but they are always injury prone. They are never having all of their elite guys on the field at the same time.
I think the O-line has a big thing to do with it too. The Chargers haven't really had an O-line for Justin Herbert. You know what I mean? Justin Herbert takes a lot of hits. You know, he plays very well for not having a line. You know what I mean? I forget the picture that I seen. I think he's over 4,000 yards or something like that, and all of his 3 seasons passing. That's really good. You know what I mean? Imagine if he had a line. Like, imagine if he played in Philly, he would absolutely dominate. But as for like the weapons around him and stuff, getting rid of Keenan Allen, like how they said they were thinking about dropping him, I think that's stupid. You know what I mean? Like, Keenan Allen's proven he's a very good wide receiver in the league. He's a top slot receiver still in the league at 30, 31 years old. Keep that weapon for Justin Jefferson. You know what I mean? Let that chemistry build, like I was saying about Kirk Cousins and Jefferson. Herbert has Austin Eckler too. Like, he's one of the best receiving backs in the entire league. The defense is very well rounded. Like he was saying, Luke, you have Bosa, Khalil Mack, Derwin James. You have all those guys. Asante Jr. That's a very well rounded defense there. It's just that O line, I think, man, is crucial for them. Honestly, I think that offense just can't. They're good, don't get me wrong. I just don't think they can stir up enough to win those huge games.
And Eckler's a beast, man.
He is a beast, dude. He's another one that does it without a line. You know what I mean? Like, he's another one that's doing all this without a line. They're two very good pieces to that team. And like you said, it might be a curse because they really do have a very good team every year. They just cannot put enough up to win these big games.
Going into this year, I definitely had the Chargers as one of my Super Bowl favorites. Like, that offense when healthy, like, you got to think Mike Williams is one of the best wide receiver twos in this league. He's arguably now the wide receiver one in that team now, and Keenan Allen's number two. Like, it's arguing. It's like, you gotta, like, that offense when fully healthy is really scary. Like, Josh Palmer's a very good wide receiver 3. There was a game where he was wide receiver 1 for a game, and he absolutely balled the fuck out.
And Ever looked good this year too.
Yeah, so the whole offense is really good. I definitely think that paying Herbert is a necessity. And, like, now, like, I think Herbert is arguably the greatest arm talent we've ever seen in the league since Aaron Rodgers stepped in this league. The throws that guy can make is absolutely insane. And like Lori was saying, with no line is good too. Like, Rashawn Slater got hurt to start this year too, his best lineman. So he was going in this league. He was going into most of his games with absolute idiots blocking for him and still putting up numbers. So I definitely think playing Herbert is obviously what the Chargers need to do right now. I think keeping Keenan Allen, I think they should keep him too, because none of us have seen a full year with this offense healthy. They don't know if next year's the year. Like, none of us know yet if next year is the year where they all could be healthy. Could you imagine a full year with that offense being healthy? They could be absolutely gross, especially with that defense. That defense had 5 turnovers against the Jacksonville Jaguars in the first half. They blew it in the second half, but they had 5 turnovers in the first half, which is insane. So I definitely think if that team could stay healthy for a full year, that team could definitely contend for Super Bowl.
How you just said that you think he's the best arm talent that we've seen since Aaron Rodgers, I have a question for you guys. Do you think that he's a better arm talent than Joe Burrow? They got drafted the same year and everything.
I think if anyone lives up to it, it's Mahomes or Josh Allen.
I agree with pretty much everything you said there, Ed, besides the greatest arm talent thing. I don't think he's the best arm talent even in the league right now. You got to think of all the good quarterbacks that are in the league right now. And, like, I think Mahomes proved that he's the best arm talent in this league, arguably, that we've seen since Aaron Rodgers, honestly. I think that goes to Mahomes, that trophy. And I think that also, not by much, but a little bit, I think Joe Burrow has Herbert beat. Not by much, though.
No, I agree with you, Steve. But I do think the Chargers wide receivers, they got to get younger guys in there. I mean, keep the guys that they have they're deadly, obviously, but their health is always an issue. So they pick up some young guys, maybe draft them. They don't have to be top-notch draft picks, but a lot of guys that were wide receivers weren't really highly taken in the draft, you know? So, I mean, maybe develop those guys under Allen, see what they work out in the next couple of years, but it's just a matter of health, like you guys were saying.
Yeah, I think Brandon Staley's a really good head coach as well. And like you said, Eddie, with Slater, they just picked him up in the draft this last draft. So that sucks because that was their, I think, first round.
2 drafts ago.
But he was their first round.
He was drafted with Sewell Panay, same round.
Yeah, so he was their second or first round pick. That's hard to lose, and you know, I think being like in Los Angeles, that's going to be a team that players want to go with. Mike Williams, though, he's very injury prone with his back. So I don't know why necessarily this is Keenan Allen getting thrown out, but Keenan Allen is proven, but he's getting up there in his 30s. I think he's 30, 31, one of those. I think you go younger. Definitely there's going to be a couple receivers, maybe like bringing in a guy like Juju Smith or someone, man. Like, I'm not huge on Juju after the BS he was saying about Philly, but I mean, Juju's not really that bad of a receiver. If you get a pretty decent guy in there, you're going to look pretty good. I just wanted to say what I wrote down while we were talking about receivers. Free Brandon Cooks, man. Get him out of Houston. Free Brandon. That's a guy, he's only 29 years old still. Like, he got a little bit left in the tank. He hasn't been exerting a lot of energy up in Houston. Free him. You know, let my man Brandon Cooks free, dude. He was a top receiver in like 2 or 3 years ago, 4 years ago. You know, get him back in the league and get him active again. He deserves that. He definitely deserves a run. Anything else you guys want to go on BS about?
Yeah, Brandon Cooks is another one that I can see Dallas paying if Houston was deciding to let him go, because like you said, he's a veteran. He's only 29 years old, and he could teach CeeDee Lamb a lot, dude. Brandon Cooks is one of them wide receivers that can dominate you in the slot, or he can dominate you on the end. You know what I mean? Like, he can teach that young CeeDee Lamb a lot, and I can definitely see. I really, like you said, dude, free him, because the Texans aren't a good team. They're not a good franchise at all. They're probably the worst franchise in the league. So, yeah, free Brandon Cooks, man. I'm all about that.
That was a good take too, Lori, with him going to Dallas, because he's already in Dallas or in Texas the way it is being a Houston.
But I mean, yeah, you'd only have to drive a couple hours, and Jerry Jones, he just seems like the type of dude that Jerry Jones would be all about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They work T.Y. Hilton actually in pretty good.
Man, they like signing these veteran players, and like you said, he's only 29. But when you think of Brandon Cooks, you think he seems like he's older. You know what I mean? He seems like a dude that's like 31, 32.
Yeah,
so
but he was really peaking with like Drew Brees, Brady.
He was, man. Yeah, he's good. He still has a little bit of gas left in that tank, and I can definitely see him going to a team with I don't want to say a high caliber quarterback like Dak, because I don't think Dak is high caliber. Dylan, I hope you hear that. But yeah, he's would only have to drive a couple hours to go there. You know what I mean? So that's definitely a possibility.
I guess we'll start wrapping up. I just want to say before we wrap up, thank you guys for tuning in to episode 10. It's been a very special 10 episodes, man, and plenty more to come in the upcoming weeks, years, months. Should have said it first, but we'll be doing this for centuries to come. AJ Green retired. I used to love watching AJ Green, and you know what? Wrapping up the NFL season, and the next couple episodes, we'll basically be talking about trade rumors, free agency, the upcoming draft, and so not really big up until next August and September, but we'll still be rolling, maybe not an hour, but we'll probably be doing little half-hour episodes. But thank you guys for tuning in to episode 10 of The Fade.